Okay, so it looks like we're about to get started. All right. Yeah, it looks like we're live now. So welcome everyone to this second live stream about building an onboarding feature on my starter architecture. I'll just do maybe a quick recap of what we've been doing on the last live stream. So the main idea was to create an onboarding screen and add it to this time tracking application. And in the last live stream, we got started building this feature, and the idea. So what we got to was that we implemented an onboarding page, which is just a simple column widget with an image, a text, and a button. And we also created an onboarding view model that we use to set the state of the onboarding to complete once the user has tapped on the button. So where we left off was that at the moment, this feature will always show the onboarding again every time we restart the application. And that's because we don't have any persistent storage of the selection from the user. So today we're going to continue on this. And I think the plan is that we will add some support for this using shared preferences. And we will integrate this with RiverPod as well. So I guess the first thing that we're going to do is to open the pubspec.yaml file. By the way, I'm already talking, but let me know if everything is okay with the live stream. And I'll carry on. So the first step is going to be to add shared preferences. So let me just do that quickly. So that's that. And then I'm actually going to maybe restart the application since I just added a dependency. And then the way I'm going about this is that rather than adding all the shared preferences code to this view model, I'm going to create a separate shared preferences service. So I'm going to go into this folder where I'm already storing some of the services that are in use by this application. And here I'm going to add a new file. And this is going to be called, for example, shared preferences service.dart. And in here, I'm going to add a class shared preferences service. And the way I might implement this is that I'm going to need a final shared preferences instance in order to use this. And so this is something that should be passed into the constructor. So something like this. And then I'm going to add a couple of methods that let me set and read the value of the onboarding flag. So I'm going to start with the setter, and I'm going to, and because writing to share preferences is an asynchronous operation, I'm going to make this a feature. So here I'm going to create a feature of type void, and I'm going to call this set onboarding complete. I'm only going to be calling this once when the user taps on this button. So I think I'm just going to not have an argument, a Boolean argument here, and always set it to true when this method is called. And then here I can type await share preferences dot set bool, and here I need to pass a key and a value. The value could be true, like this. And for the key, maybe I'm going to create a constant for this, so I can add a static const onboarding complete key equals onboarding complete. And then I'm going to use this when I write this with the key. And I'm also going to add a method to read this value. So I could call this boolean is onboarding complete, like that. Just quickly checking on the live stream. Yeah, it looks like we are good. Though there don't. Yeah, okay. So let me just carry on. So if we want to return a value here, we can just get shared preferences dot get bool, and here I can just return the key that I've just created. So this is a fairly simple implementation for this service. And I guess the benefit of moving this code into a service is that if later on our application needs to use shared preferences for anything else, then we can add more methods to it. And then if there are any view models that need to use that service, we can just kind of add it as a dependency. Now the next question is, how can we make sure that this onboarding view model has access to an instance of the shared preferences service? And because we are using RiverPod for state management and dependency injection, I think the way I'm going to go about it is to create a provider for this, just in the same way that we have done for the onboarding view model. So to make this a bit quicker, I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste it in here and rename it. So this is going to be called Shared Preferences Service Provider. It's not going to be a state notifier provider. It's probably going to be just a normal provider, like this. I need to import the RiverPod in order to use this. And what I want to do here is to return an instance of Shared Preferences service. Now, in order to do this, I need to pass an instance of the shared preferences object from the package. So this can be accessed by typing shared preferences.getInstance, but this is actually a feature. So in order for this to work, I need to put an await call in here. And because this is await, here I need to add async. And because this is now asynchronous, this is not a synchronous provider, and instead I think I should use something like a future provider. So this will be a future provider that will give me a share preferences service when this call has completed. And then I can go back to the onboarding view model provider, and then from here I can use the ref to access the other provider. So I'm just going to expand this into a method like this. So this will return the onboarding view model. And then I need to get access to the other provider. So here I'm going to type final share preferences service equals ref.watch. And here I'm going to try to get access to this provider like this. And then, yeah, I need to add the type. So the type of the thing that we need here is share preferences service, which I can import as well. And now that I have this, I can pass this to the onboarding view model. And of course, I need to remember to pass this as well, so that this class has an instance of it. So I can add a final share preferences service like this, and I can set things up this way. And now that I have this class, I will be able to modify these methods so that they access the shared preferences service directly, which persists data, rather than just setting local state in memory. So I can update this call, and here, rather than just setting state to true, I'm going to add an await share preferences service dot set onboarding complete. because this is await, I need to add an async here and maybe a future here in this fashion. So what will happen is that when I call complete onboarding, then we first write a flag to the share preferences service, and then we update the state so that our UI can reload. The getter is actually a little bit simpler, because here all we have to do is to, well, I guess for now we could try to make it like this. So we can just type share preferences service dot onboarding complete, and the idea is that as soon as we set this value to anything, true or false, then we can read it synchronously. So returning this flag from this class is going to be the same as reading the state from the state notifier, because the two things are in sync. So this is how we're going to do it. Now, I'm just going to try to restart the application. And if I get the console, I can see that I have an error that says the argument type future provider of share preferences service can't be assigned to the parameter type always alive provider base. And this is something that happens on this line. So it seems that just calling ref.watch is not enough to make this work if we are using a future provider. This is something that I was actually investigating a little bit earlier. How can we create a provider that depends on a future provider? And I didn't get very far, so I had to get in contact with Mr. Remy, who well, is the author of our Riverpod, and he was suggesting a couple of things. So I'm just going to try this now. So here I'm going to create this async value, which will be kind of a box container for my service that I need to use. And so when I use this, I can call ref.watch with the provider that I have. Let's see. All right, so let me just save this and oops. All right, let me, ooh, hey, this doesn't even seem to be going away. Yeah, so it seems that it still doesn't like that. So the problem is that here I'm trying to assign a share preference service. Okay, so the types don't actually match because the infer type of this is still an async value. So I'm not sure that this will kind of do it at this stage. So I might need to get back. All right, let's just see if we can get some live help, because sometimes knowing the right people helps. So I'm just going to try to get some help. And I'm just gonna ask, doesn't seem to be working. I think the infer type so while we get an answer, I think I'll just try to better understand the problem here. So this provider that we have created over here is a future provider. And what we are trying to do is to create a state notifier provider that will keep track of the changes in the onboarding state. And so, well, this is turning into a live stream. So yeah, we'll see how how we figure this out. This is gonna be a fun one to watch. I guess you were an unintended guest. Oh well, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, well, we still have quite a bit of time, so let's see how far we can get with this. Yeah. So yeah, async value. I guess we can use this to safely manipulate asynchronous data. Yeah. Yeah, so it's asking that. When it comes down to this, 99% of the time is probably that I'm doing things wrong. I'm pretty sure your pod is fine. So let me go back to that and pass this code as well. Ooh, hang on. Didn't want to switch that. So my error is so I don't think anyway inferring this type this way is going to work here. So I'm just gonna do another quick reload. And I believe so this is without the async. And if I put this back, I'm gonna be getting error on character. What is it? Ah, right. That makes a lot more sense. All right. Let's try now. Okay. Getting there. This is turning to be quite fun. So I guess, okay, if this ref is meant to watch an async value of my service, then I shouldn't be passing. Yeah. All right, so let me clean up this code a little bit. I think we can get rid of the type inference here. And then, yeah. And then when I read this data, is now an async value. So this dot data. Let's see if that works. Still not too happy. Well, let's see. Runtime up and ooh, I see lots of interesting things. Okay, so this is actually quite interesting, learning some good stuff here. So when I do this, I guess I could map this to when. Okay, interesting. So I'm just gonna try something, which I'm not sure it's gonna work, but I'm gonna send this to Remy and see if he's happy with the way I'm doing it. And then I'm gonna ask. Yeah, I guess it's all about what is the right place where we want to go from asynchronous return value to synchronous, because ideally here we just want this value to be synchronous and for us to be able to use it. So yeah, I mean, if this is the right way to go, which I haven't confirmed yet, then it would mean that sometimes this onboarding view model provider would return an onboarding view model that we can use, but some other times we would be getting null. If that's the case when we use it, then we would have to check. Yeah, we would have to check for null values. So I'm not quite sure if that's how we want to be going about it. Let's see. Because this is a state notifier provider, so it's quite interesting. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work particularly well. Let's see. This is actually, I think, quite an interesting use case that some of you might encounter when working with Riverpod. Like, what do you do when you want to have some state that depends on something that is created asynchronously when you start the application? I mean, I guess one way that I could go about it until I get a final answer is that rather than passing this as a shared preferences service, I'm gonna make it a sync value. And so if that is the case, then here I can just return this and comment this bit out. And then the interesting thing about this now is that whenever I want to read this value, then I can't just call set onboarding complete, but instead I would have to do something like shared preferences service dot why does this have only these few arguments? So if this is right. So I had to change my state notifier to something like this. Yeah, that makes a bit more sense. Yeah, because I don't want to. This is gonna be quite interesting. So, all right. So let's revert this bit and let's go back to this and do this like this. And then this time, oh, hang on a sec, my bad. This is not here, but instead it should be here, a sync value of bool. And yeah, right. So when I first start off, I want to return a loading state, and then okay, well, let's see if we can get there. So this becomes a state notifier of a sync value, and in this case this case will become, this is still an async value when it's created like this. So I presume this needs to be an async value as well. And because of that, I can't exactly call it like this. So I would probably have to write something like this dot. That's an interesting one. So let's see, this is the updated version. I'm really curious to see if we get to the bottom of this. But I can't call directly this on the async value. So I wonder if instead, also I guess this is not going to be true like this. This will be more like sync value dot data with true. Oh, right. That might be an interesting way of doing it, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I'll try that. Yeah, that might be a slightly less boilerplate way of doing it. So I could actually say final provider reference ref like this. And here, rather than passing this, we can just pass ref. This could probably become a state notifier of bool again. So this all becomes a little bit more simplified, and I don't need this. And when I create this, then this makes things a little bit simpler. So I can probably move this code from here to here now. No, I'm doing a live stream. Sorry, some request for help coming in the house. Yeah, so probably something like this. Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting to. So fine, let's do it like this. And I like this approach. So here I'm going to type await ref.read, and this time I'm going to read the shared preference service provider, and then future like that. Oh, that's quite nice actually. And then once I have this, I can just call it like that and like this. And I might be able to do the same thing here. Though I guess the annoying bit is that this would now become asynchronous as well. So I can remove all this stuff, and I can probably simplify this by just returning the onboarding view model like this. So this creation becomes much simpler. However, now the problem is that every time I need to read or write, then I need to await to get the service that I need. So that's not exactly ideal. This basically needs to become asynchronous. So let me just try doing it this way for now, but I'm not really sure I want this to be done like this. So it should, let's see if it compiles. Let's see, and I'm still getting errors. So this time it's because when I create this, I'm actually just passing false by default. Yeah, this is a fun one today. Well, we are all learning about this. Let's see how it goes. Well, the app is compiling a list, so that's some form of progress. Yeah, okay. So we got here. We can at least inject things. I suspect I will have to make some changes to the calls that I make to this onboarding model. So let's see. So this is where we call complete onboarding, which is now an asynchronous operation. So we can probably mark this as a sync, make this a future, just so that it goes like this. So that's a bit better. And then somewhere we are actually reading the state. So in terms of setting the flag to the value that we want, this will probably do it. But I need to still go back to the main.dart. And yeah, here I have my watch. Oh, right, I see. So this will actually read the state from the state notifier, which is a synchronous thing. So I guess if I go back here, all right, it might even be that I'm not using this. Isn't that right? Because when I on this file here, then all I need to do is to read the state. I see. Yeah, that might actually turn out to be okay. All right, so let's give this whole thing a test now. See if we're actually able to persist the flag. So I'm gonna open the console. Looks like no errors on startup. Then I can press on get started. And this should actually trigger a change on this consumer, on the watch thing. So I guess I'm going to put a breakpoint and verify that when this button is pressed, then I'm actually calling this. And I think, yeah, I was just forgetting here to set state to true, like this. So I think that is probably what's going on at the moment. I'm gonna remove this breakpoint, I'm gonna save, and I'm gonna try this again. So there we go. Now we have moved over to the sign-in screen. What I'm gonna do now is to probably kill the application. If I remember how to do it on Android. Oops. Yeah, well, getting there. Let's see, I want to actually, yeah, just kill the application entirely. And then I can start it again. And if everything works, the next time we start it, we should now be taken directly to the sign-in screen because the onboarding complete flag is now persisted. So yeah, crossing fingers, this time it would work. And it looks like overall there wasn't a huge amount of boilerplate code that was used. It doesn't seem as though this has worked, but that's because when we first create and set things up, we need to actually read the value as well. So I think one thing that I should do when the application starts is to maybe add some code here that will say, that will read the state from the shared preferences, like this, and then, yeah, I think I'm gonna create an init state method. Let's repurpose this. So what I'm gonna do is to say init. This would be a boolean. Here I can read this value, and then when I have access to this, I can just say state equals to share preferences service dot is onboarding complete. I don't actually need this to return a value. I can just say void, and then I'm just gonna move this a bit up here, and here I can just call init. Can I do this on the constructor? No, I can't. All right, fine. I think we'll just do that. Ooh, Dart Analyzer has terminated. I'm doing crazy things here. Yeah, so I guess the purpose of this is that when we first create the onboarding view model, we just want to be able to read the initial value. So if I want to restart the application now, I can see that I am on the sign-in screen. So this confirms that once the onboarding was dismissed once, then we are good. Why does it say? Not sure exactly what the error. Oh, something is going really crazy with the analyzer. So maybe let me just clear this. What is going on? Whoa, something is really messed up in VS Code. All right, let me close this window and then reopen. See if that sorts it out. Yeah, seems like we don't have so many problems now. I'm just gonna give it a bit of time. It will be fine. It just needs to probably reload its cache. And in theory, yeah, still didn't like that, huh? It doesn't seem to be liking all my new dependencies. What is going on exactly? I should import Flutter river pod from here, and now we should be good. So I'm just starting again. Seems like we're having a bit of hiccups, but yeah. But yeah, so I think, yeah, this is an interesting way of looking at things. Like previously when I was creating applications that were using shared preferences, because getting the shared preferences instance was a matter of getting this asynchronously, then I would typically put that in the main method just before the run up. So I would just assign it here to a variable and then pass it as a dependency to the root widget in my app. And that was when I was using provider. So with that approach, you can just make a scoped provider that keeps the value once it's been received by the completed feature. But it looks like with RiverPod things have to be configured differently because providers in RiverPod are global, so we always need to have some value, and so we need to set things up a bit differently when we need to read things that depend on features. So yeah, maybe it's just the way of doing things, and before I was trying to fight RiverPod, and if I go along with it, then that is how I need to be dealing with features and providers that depend on features. So yeah, this is quite interesting. Oh, it looks like this is trying to run on the iPhone simulator, which I don't want because that would probably take a bit too long. So I'm just gonna select the other device and run again. But yeah, I think this is working now. So I think what I'm gonna do is to commit this change because I'm reasonably happy that it works. And the next goal for us will be to try to write some tests. I'm not sure I want these changes now, but yeah, anyway, I can commit this as well. So using shared preferences to set onboarding flag. So here we are. We are at 40 minutes already. So I think we're just gonna test this application. I need to decide if I'm gonna I guess, try to go ahead and write tests for this feature already on this live stream, or if maybe I'm gonna do it on the next one. I think this is actually being quite an interesting and convoluted discussion about how we work with features and how we implement dependencies in this fashion. So I think I'm just gonna wrap it up at this for today, and we can maybe continue on the next one. So yeah, I guess just as a summary, we have modified the onboarding view model class that we created before, and we have made some changes so that it can read the actual state from shared preferences. In order to do this, we had to introduce a new shared preferences service provider, which is a future provider. And that means that whenever we need to read data from it, then we need to do it in this fashion. So the way this works now is that when we create this model for the first time, we call init and we read the flag from shared preferences. And also every time we see the onboarding screen, if we tap on the button and we call this complete onboarding method, then once again we get the shared preferences service that we need. We set the state and we update the state on the state notifier, and in turn this will cause a rebuild on this consumer so that we can decide which page to show. So the feature in itself is now complete, and yeah, I can just push the code, but I think it's a wrap up for today. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, let me know, and I'll see you on the next one.